Hello, today we're going to talk about inputs and outputs of functions. All right, what this means by inputs and outputs is something's a function if it has every one input has one output. That means if I take the function 2x minus 4, if I put 1 in that for my x, and I get 2 minus 4 equals -2. Am I going to put that 1 in again and get anything else but -2? No. Every one input only has one output. And this is how it's usually written, as you can see down here. So f of -2, what is f of -2 if f of x equals x to the third? And this is just function notation, basically. So how I rewrite this is like this. So basically the 2 is just taken over for the x. This number right here, this is still basically y, it's going to equal y in the end. But the -2, or the number inside the parentheses, is just what you substitute in for the x in these. So then it goes to f of -2 equals -2 cubed. -2 cubed is -2 times -2 times -2, which gives us 4 times -2, which is -8. So anytime I put in -2 for this, my input, I will get -8 out as my output. And that's what this is saying, and that's what you're finding through this whole thing. All right, example number 2. So this time, this is my function, and I call it function notation. All function notation is you just replace the y with this f of x thing. So if I say f of x, I want to be 3. All I do is, since that's x, and now we replace that with the 3, anywhere I see x in my equation, I replace it with 3, and I solve. So f of 3, or if I input, or what else is saying is, if I input 3 into this function, what am I going to get out every time? I'm going to get out -5. So every time I put in 3 for this function, I get -5. This input gives me this output. One input, one output. All right, here is 2 more examples. So for this one, I'm going to plug in, I want to know when my input is 7, what is my output? So I place, anytime I see an x, I replace it with a 7. So 7 squared is 49 minus 5, so 44. So if I was doing this as a point, it'd be 7, 44. So anytime I input, or my x, or my domain, or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to get 44 out when it comes to this function. All right, over here, I'm going to put in -4. So I want to know, when my input is -4, what is my output for this function? I just like to rewrite the whole thing again. You don't actually have to. All right, all I did was I replaced everywhere I saw an x with what I want, with my input, because I'm inputting it into it. Now what do I get as my output? Well, -4 squared is 16, and more likely this is where most people are going to mess up, because if you use a calculator and don't put the parentheses around it, it doesn't square the negative with it. And this would actually give you -16. If you ever put this in a calculator, always do parentheses, -4, parentheses, raised to the 2. Or just do -4 times -4. -8 minus 5, this gives me 8, 3. So anytime I input -4 into this function, I'm going to get an output of 3. All right, this has been inputs and outputs of functions. Just remember, every one input only has one output. A bunch of inputs can have the same output, but every one input only has one output for each different function.